reloaded.
Hey guys, so today, finally, as promised, we're going to be taking a closer look at my custom-built Tokyo Marui Mark IV AEG. And I'm also going to be telling you guys how you can build one of these ultimate rifles for yourself. So, of course, if you do enjoy this video and want to find out more information, don't forget to leave a like and all your thoughts and comments down below. So to begin with, this weapon started out life as a Tokyo Marui M4 SOT mod, and as you can see here, it looks pretty different to how it's ended up. Now this weapon is part of the next generation shock recoil series from Tokyo Marui, so as you can probably tell, it does have a built-in recoil, and I have to say, it is nice and snappy and pretty satisfying. But as well as that, one of the other great features is the bolt stop function. So when you're reloading, once your magazine has used every single round in that magazine, your trigger stops functioning. You can't dry fire the weapon with the mag still in. And once you put a fresh mag in, if you don't hit that bolt release button, you won't be able to continue firing. So it's a very realistic feature, which is pretty good for training. Now in the UK at least, these next generation Tokyo Maruis come in at around £420, which is a little bit on the expensive side for an AEG. But they are definitely worth that extra margin. There is no shadow of a doubt, out of the box, they will outrange and outperform pretty much every AEG on the market, unless of course you're willing to spend upwards of £1,000 and get yourself something like a PTW Systema. But we will get into that later on. I spoke to a number of players who own upgraded Tokyo Maruis and Systemas, and they prefer their TM for the reliability and the performance. But with all that said, they do come with a few gripes straight out of the box. They do come with a low FPS, only around 300 on 0.2 gram BBs. They only use proprietary magazines and proprietary batteries. Now both of them you can resolve if you wish. I think most players straight away do the battery mod, so you can use Dean's or Mini Itamiya batteries. And you can buy an adapter for the magazine, so if you wish to use your own mag, say you've already got a big stash of mid caps, you can do that by buying an adapter, but it does stop the bolt stop function from working. So if you want to use that bolt stop function, which of course is a really great feature of the weapon, you do have to buy the proprietary mid caps. So it is a little bit of an investment buying all the stuff for this weapon. So now we've got the base weapon sorted, let's start to take a look at some of the upgrades. So to begin with, externally, visually, probably the most obvious change is the change of that rail. The standard SOT mod wrist rail and outer barrel has been removed, and that has been replaced with a 13.5 inch Mark IV Geisley rail. Now as well as that, moving forward, at the front of the weapon I actually run a PTS battle comp rather than just your standard flash hider. I think that works really well, it looks pretty good alongside the rail. Now on the rail itself I have some URX rail covers and a URX finger stop, as well as a Magpul RVG foregrip, which all work really well for a very comfortable C-style grip. As you'll see in my gameplay, I do tend to clamp the weapon in a C-style with my thumb on top, allowing me to operate my pressure switch for my torch on top of the rail. But that's enough of the externals of this weapon. Of course, all of that is just down to personal preference. A lot of you guys are here to know what is inside this gun. What have you done to the internals to make this thing so good? Now straight away I have to say I haven't done any of this internal upgrading myself. There's one thing I'm not very good at with Airsoft, and that is upgrades and tech work. All of this has been done by the awesome Sam Ligger down at Kingdom of Airsoft. So if you own a Tokyo Marui gun or you're intending on buying one, maybe you want to do this exact build, Sam is going to be your man. Kingdom of Airsoft is based in Dundee. You can simply post your weapons to them. He will do pretty much anything you ask of them and then post them back. So he's a really good service. I think at the moment there's about an 8-week queue because he is that popular. But pretty much everyone I speak to on all the TM pages, all TM owners, highly regard Sam as probably the best Tokyo Marui technician in the UK. So what have we got ourselves inside this weapon? Well, starting off simple, we have an M100 Eagle 6 spring, so that's going to change that FPS issue we discussed earlier, taking it from around about 300 right the way up to 350 FPS. Now to run alongside that, we also have an upgraded Prometheus cylinder head with a modified sorbo to create the perfect angle of engagement on the piston. Now as well as that, we've also cut off the second and third teeth so the sector gear picks up on the piston at the right position. Now alongside those parts, we also have ourselves a Prometheus spring guide and a new Eagle 6 recoil spring. Now as well as all that, we've also got ourselves a nicely shimmed set of Prometheus gears, which are pretty essential if you are going to make a spring or a MOSFET upgrade to a Tokyo Marui, because it will just increase its longevity. Eventually that new spring and MOSFET will wear down the original gears, so getting some nicely upgraded ones is pretty essential. Now on the inside of the gearbox itself, we've also had it polished and smooth. Of course, this is where the piston is going to be moving backwards and forwards every time you fire, so having that as clean and as smooth as possible is only going to make those parts work a little bit more effectively. Now, as well as all this, probably the biggest bang for your buck upgrade in this weapon is the addition of a BTC Spectra MOSFET, which for any of you guys who know TMs already will know is probably the most impressive addition you can add to one of these weapons. They're great already, but adding a Spectra MOSFET makes it a whole nother level. They're also, of course, very difficult to get hold of. I think about 500 are made seemingly once a year or so, and they sell out within the first few hours. So if you can get hold of one, they are a great addition to your weapon. Of course, it basically adds an electronic trigger unit to your gun, so you can program it to 3-round bursts, single shot. It also means you get no trigger lockup, which is often a problem with TMs and most AR-15 platforms. It also means it can fire as quickly as you like. No matter how fast you spam that trigger, it will always react. It won't miss a shot or slip, as you may find with a standard TM recoil. Now, alongside all of that, we've also had a custom built motor put into the weapon. Now, this is something Sam's actually built himself. It's a highly magnetized motor which allows you to actually run 11-1 LiPo. So this thing with the custom motor can churn out around about 21-22 rounds a second. So it is extremely fast. I wouldn't recommend using 11.1. We have a little clip here demonstrating it with 11.1. You'll see how fast it is, but normally day to day I will just be using 7.4 batteries. I don't need that kind of level of rate of fire, and it will probably wear the weapon in a little bit faster, but if you did want that rate of fire, it is always an option.
Mag empty.
So as you can see, a very satisfying weapon to use. Now, moving to the front of the weapon, the barrel and the hop-up are actually standard. Now, some elitists out there may argue, well, you could make this weapon even better by adding an even tighter barrel, maybe flat hop it, R-hop it, but I have to say, Tokyo Marui have some pretty magic hop-ups and pretty nice barrels, and the range and accuracy I'm getting out of it as standard with that increased FPS gives me pretty incredible range, as I mentioned in my previous videos. So for now, I am leaving the hop-up and the barrel standard because Tokyo Marui internals, for the front at least, are very, very good. So I see no real reason to make those upgrades. Now, I've ran this weapon in this configuration for quite some time now for milsims, CQB, indoor, outdoor, woodland, Fibua, and I have to say it's an incredible piece of kit. Definitely the best gun I've ever used, and certainly one of the best guns some of my friends have ever used. The BTC Spectra gives me great trigger response for CQB and fast-paced environments. The improved range gives me some great stuff for outdoor and those bigger games. So overall, this weapon has had no issues with keeping up with all the tasks I'm putting to it. Maybe in the future I might want a shorter rail on it because now I've got night vision and playing a lot of night games. I do want to run my G&G tracer unit on the front. Having that suppressor on the front of that 13-inch rail makes it slightly too long, especially for CQB. You probably could get away with it for woodland and maybe some Fibua sites. So maybe in the future a change might be making the weapon a little bit shorter. But overall at the moment, I really am enjoying this piece of kit. So if you too would like to build a weapon like this or find out any more information, I will leave links to Kingdom of Airsoft down in the description below. Also to Camo Raid, which is probably the best and cheapest Tokyo Marui retailer in the UK. I've talked about those guys before, I highly recommend them. So if you want to buy a TM, I will leave links to that in the description below. Also to my Facebook page, we've been doing some live streams on there recently. We've been unboxing stuff, chatting to people, talking about Milsim. So if you want to watch those live streams with myself and some of my teammates, my Facebook page is in the description below. And of course, if you enjoyed the video and have any further questions, leave them down in the comments. But in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.